Doug Collins, along with Fox News legal analyst Gregg Jarrett. Greg, after the judge read the instructions to the jury this morning, and you start digging, and I've got Sean and I both have the jury instructions here, which they're not allowed to take into the deliberations with them. If you look, they were given essentially a grab bag of 3 underlying crimes used to gin up these 34 misdemeanors, time-barred misdemeanors, into felonies. 3 of them. Pick one, any one. The jury doesn't have to agree on the underlying crimes in order to come up with a unanimous verdict. So a split verdict is actually a unanimous verdict. This is upside down, backwards, horrific.
Yeah, I call it an Alice in Wonderland case where the judge is the Mad Hatter. He has effectively ripped up Trump's due process rights. He's instructed this jury, oh, you don't need to agree unanimously on which of the 3 secondary crimes that the defendant supposedly committed. You're free to pick and choose whatever you like. 4 jurors may take one, 4 others may pick another, and so forth. How in the world can that be? Unanimous jury decisions, Dagan, are a bedrock constitutional principle derived from the 6th and 7th Amendment. That requirement extends to all issues, including every necessary element of an alleged crime and/or, in this case, secondary crimes. It's an indispensable feature of jury trials. It's what defines our rule of law. It makes America's system of justice the envy of the world. But in the trial of Donald Trump, jurors can agree to disagree while still reaching the ultimate verdict. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
You know, Doug, from the evidence to the closing instructions to the instructions that were given by Judge Merchan, I am ceased to be shocked. I mean, I'm amazed at how unbelievable Judge Merchan has been in this case. And I find it interesting that the prosecution, to Trump's clip that was played by Lydia Hu, he brings up the point that Weisselberg wasn't called, Schiller wasn't called. If you don't call Schillenberg or Schiller or Weisselberg, you're stuck with Cohen. He's a known liar. He's lied to Congress. He's lied to courts. He's lied to this jury. Why on earth wouldn't you call Weisselberg or Schiller if they would actually support the testimony of Cohen? I think the conclusion would be, of course, they're going to rebut the testimony of Cohen, the known liar.
Exactly, Sean Dagan. I think this is horrendous, and I agree completely with Greg. This is, Alice in Wonderland kind of stuff here. This what's up is down and down is up. But that's why they didn't call them. Look, they don't have a case, and this is. And Sean, I know you used to prosecute. Could you imagine just being able to walk into court, bring a defendant up, and say, they did X, and the judge says, well, present your evidence. Well, judge, they just did X. Oh, okay, fine. This is the part that people are really beginning to look at this and say, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. This is scary stuff. This is what folks who, like myself, who've dealt in criminal justice reform for years have been saying. Look, we got to have a fair system. You've got to have a system in which due process. You've got to have a system in which you know what you're being charged for. You know what you're being charged with, and you have to prove the elements. How can you just pick and choose any crime that you want to here and it not be able to be proved by the elements that was presented by the prosecution? At this point, kangaroo court is a nice term for what this is, because this isn't even a kangaroo court at this point. This makes first-year moot law courts look like they're high sophisticated intelligence law giving here, because this is just so bad people can see through it. But the sad part about this is, and I'll remind you, a man's freedom is in jeopardy here. Donald Trump's freedom is looked at in possible jeopardy because of this kind of malfeasance with the prosecution and the judge.
And Sean mentioned this yesterday. That's why Blanche dropped that in his closing, knowing he shouldn't, right. But that's why he did. So the jury heard that out of his mouth about what is at stake, and it is prison for potentially the former president. But I want to get to this in terms of the mooning and the just loving that Judge Merchan has become the focus of the media and its pundits. He is a knight in shining armor. Anybody who attacks Trump, they fall just head over heels for. Listen to this.
As you've noted, with respect to Judge Merchan, I mean, I am like now, I have like a man crush on him. Right. He is such a great judge that it's hard to see that the jurors wouldn't have the same impression. I mean, you just keep on thinking, if you looked in a dictionary for like judicial temperament, that's what you get.
I must apologize to all our viewers. I know it's dinner time in many people's households, and to subject them to that nauseating bit of love from Andrew Weissman, worked on the Mueller team. But Greg, to that point, looking at who was on this jury, 5 women, 7 men, not one blue-collar worker from the outer boroughs, all living in Manhattan, 2 lawyers. You get a security engineer, somebody who works in, I won't go on, but they might be looking at Judge Merchan in the same way, and that's dangerous.
Have faith in our justice system and the integrity of jurors who I really do believe try their level best to follow the rule of law. Having said that, Merchan has put cinder blocks on the scales of justice in favor of the prosecution. In the history of American law, a defendant has never been tried on an unidentified charge. No ethical prosecutor would do it. No fair or competent judge would ever allow it because, a defendant has a right to be informed of the accusations against him. It's in the 6th Amendment. But this judge, and you're looking at his picture right here, I mean, that's perfectly okay, not a problem at all. I think the jurors are going to struggle here because this has been spaghetti against the wall kind of case for prosecutors. It's a jumbled mess. I'm not surprised that immediately questions started emanating from the jurors. They not only seem to be confused about the law, but they want to review some of the testimony. I think they may have caught on that this is a trial in search of an imaginary crime that exists nowhere in the law. And I'm hopeful that they will see through the charade and not be fooled by Alvin Bragg and his co-prosecutor, Judge Juan Merchan.
Doug, Greg said it was a jumbled mess. I would say the key to this prosecution is confusion. A whole slew of irrelevant information has come in testimony. The instructions are incredibly confusing to the point where legal analysts, we're all kind of confused at what's going on here and how does a jury navigate the evidence and the law and come up with a verdict. But it seems like that's what Judge Merchan and this prosecution team is looking at to get a conviction on Donald Trump.
They are. And I think let's look at it from this way. The more they could confuse, then they throw salacious details in. They confuse with the law, then throw salacious details in and say, he must be a bad person, so convict him just on being a bad person, which is not the way our law works. And one of the things you brought it up, Dagan, in discussing the man crush Weissman has. Look, Weissman and Jack Smith and all come from that same theory of law that Sean just laid out there. They don't really, they go to nuances in the law. They make it up as they go. Remember, Jack Smith, Weissman, who when he worked on the Mueller report and Mueller investigation, they were coming up with these novel theories of what the crime could actually be. Is it conspiracy? Is it other things? Mm-hmm. And they operate on their own view of what the law should be, not what the law is. So in many ways, they're following the pattern, and Bragg just fell into play with this by bringing in a Department of Justice prosecutor to help into this idea that if we want it to happen, then we'll make it happen, and it doesn't matter what the law is. But what we will find is, just as Jack Smith found out in the Supreme Court, he'll get overturned. But also here, and Greg, I'd be wondering to hear, is there a fast drive-through window at the appeals court if something were to go wrong and this jury gets it wrong and finds him guilty? Because this is ridiculous. I mean, to think that if they let this stand, they ought to just start over in New York with the judicial system.
We got to jump, Greg. We will have you back. Thank you both so much, Gregg Jarrett and Doug Collins.